Hello, my name is Renee Pinter, and tonight I'm going to talk about how to make brainstorms work for you. Because there's a lot of bad rap out there for brainstorms, but you don't have to have it be bad. You can make it better. So there's a couple different ways we can use to make it more productive. So context, my name, like I said, is Renee Pinter. I'm a high-tech anthropologist at a local software design and development company called Menlo Innovations. We're really big on collaborations to the point that we pair on everything. So that's one of the reasons that brainstorming becomes core in our process. So this summer, I was at a national conference and I went to a presentation and the speaker strongly advocated against brainstorming. And he said, you know, whatever you do, don't do brainstorming because the loudest voice always wins. It's just not worth the time and the effort. And there's other articles out there like the New York Magazine, or New Yorker, excuse me, that says there's scientific studies that have proven how ineffective brainstorming is. And that's a pretty big magazine. There's a lot of scientists out there. What is it that all these people are seeing that I'm not? Because we get all kinds of great ideas out on paper when we sit down for just an hour and at the beginning of a project start to think about what are all the different ways that we could accomplish this particular user's goals. But maybe it's because brainstorm means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. So it could be that nowadays, whenever a group of people sit down around a table and put ideas out there, that's brainstorming. And I would agree that if you just have ideas out there, it's not really helpful. Alex Osborne, a marketing executive that first came up with the term brainstorming, talked about how you got to focus on the quantity, that's really important, withhold criticism until the end or at a later date, and welcome the unusual ideas so that you can combine and improve those ideas. And that's a lot of what we espouse at Menlo too. Like when we talk about these ideas, it's all about get it out there so that somebody else can build on it to make it better. And with that in mind, we keep this poster up in our space all the time. So when we sit down, we think about like making sure that we draw out our ideas, not just talk about it. And we make sure that we're never alone and we're sharing our ideas often so that we can get other people's feedback to continue to make that better. But we add a little bit of structure to that. Granted, that means we take some prep time before we go into the brainstorm, but having that structure behind us has helped a lot. And that means we've got 5 different elements that have added to that structure to help it. Some other ideas that are out there too, like we've dabbled in a lot of different ways. We don't stick to just one, but Edward de Bono's 6 Thinking Hats, or Will Evans' Design Studio, or the Competing Values Framework from Jeff DeGraff, a lot of those talk about how different people think and help you get through those ideas. But when we're intentional about the scope of the brainstorm and focus on one user goal at a time, rather than the big picture of what is everything that this application is going to do, that helps a lot. Because we're really thinking about how this one idea could look a million different ways rather than getting caught up in the details. And we take time individually to come up with ideas. We'll take a timer out, 3 minutes on the clock, and everyone come up with as many ideas as you can individually, and then we'll share afterwards. Sometimes we have the client there, sometimes we bring developers or project managers in, and keeping that small group size of 4 to 6 means that when you share ideas, it doesn't take up the entire day. The fresh perspective also helps. So it isn't just experienced people on this project that are coming to the brainstorm. It's also people that have maybe 5 minutes at the very beginning to learn who is our primary persona, what is this project's goal, and that helps them come up with out-of-the-box ideas that we haven't been stuck in. And you've got to have a plan for the output. So you've got all these ideas, what are you going to do with them? So we actually dedicate a pair of people to spend 2 to 4 hours going through all of those, looking for trends. Like, did everybody come up with the idea of having a map? Maybe that means it's really interesting to put in front of the user and see if the user likes a map. So for a real concrete example, if you spend, out of that hour, you do 5 minutes of an introductory discussion. You talk about what's the project, who's your persona. Oh wow, it's going really fast. And you get through, like in 3-minute sessions, you get with 4 people, over 4 user goals, probably over 100 ideas, and then have that 2 to 4 hours to go through and distill those. And that's if you just did one brainstorm session with 4 people. So to wrap it up, you got to be intentional about the scope of your brainstorms. You've got to make sure that you've got individual time and group time so that you get the brilliant ideas out of the people and then make them better as a group. Keep your group size small, 4 to 6 people. Bring in fresh perspectives, and thank you very much.